So I've tried to stay away from negativity as much as possible, and I only talk about negativity when I feel like it's justified in talking about. Oh, we need to talk about this now. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I'm Ian McQuaid, and today we are talking about AEW Dynamite. In particular, we are talking about one particular person, and that man is Chris Jericho. And before we dive into this, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try and apply to every single one of them as we dive into this. So, as I said in the intro to this video, I don't like talking negatively. This would be so much easier if I was just talking positively about everything, but we don't live in that world, sadly, and if something is negatively impacting a show, as much as I feel Chris Jericho is impacting Dynamite right now, I think it needs to be addressed. So what is it with Chris Jericho? First of all, Chris Jericho, let's get it out of the way. He's an all-time great. He is an all-time great. He's one of the reasons a lot of us tuned in for AEW when it was first starting. That being said, the reinventions and the sort of reworking of his character have been hit and miss in AEW. Loved Le Champion, loved the Ocho, loved the Wizard, didn't love JAS, and don't like the Learning Tree. So, what are we doing here? What are we doing here with Chris Jericho and the Learning Tree? Because this all stems from the segment that happened on last night's Dynamite. It was a Learning Tree segment with Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith. And they called out Private Party. They had a long promo segment and a beatdown, Private Party versus the Learning Tree. That looks like what we're getting. But I think the inherent issue with this Chris Jericho character and this Chris Jericho story is that it's go away heat. Like, I've never once, I don't think, watching wrestling, have I fully experienced go away heat. That is in, I just don't want to see you on my TV anymore. I can't think of any time that's really happened. I think the closest would have been maybe Dan Lambert in AEW, but even then I didn't think that was terrible. But the Learning Tree Chris Jericho I find so grating, so self-indulgent, and so not funny that it's giving me go away heat. It is not wanting... I'm not wanting to watch when Chris Jericho is on TV. Not because he's a heel, just because I don't like this. And I think that is an inherent problem with AEW programming, and I think this is getting to a lot of people. Now, the argument against this is, yes, but it's self-referential. He's playing into the gimmick. It's called TV time. He's getting more TV time. We don't want him to have more TV time, which I understand. Believe me, I do understand that it is self-referential and it is intended to play on what everyone's thinking about Chris Jericho. The issue is, it's too far gone now. It is far too gone. And if this had happened, so everyone started turning on Jericho, sort of Lionheart, in that feud with Hook, and he got the please retire chance and all that stuff. That's when the Learning Tree came back. If he had gone away 6 months, maybe even 4 months at a push, and then come back with this gimmick, I don't think it'd be that much of a problem. I think the issue is that we never had that chance to miss Jericho. We never had that chance to distance ourselves from it. So instead, we're stuck with someone who, yes, is playing into the gimmick, but is also, he's taking up TV time. He's in feuds that I don't want to see. And there are so many other people on the stacked roster that AEW has that could be better utilised. Like any women's division stuff. Or Keith Lee. Or Athena. There's so many people on that roster who've signed with AEW that could be in these spots. And instead it's taken up by Chris Jericho's audience for one act. Because I can't get on board with it. Granted, subjective opinion. Other people might love the Learning Tree stuff. I really don't. I really, really don't. And I think the whole argument of it being self-referential just collapses in on itself, because self-referential is then you should then subvert the expectations of what you are referring to. So if you call out something as being stupid, yeah, you've called it out. Does it stop it from being stupid? If you're taking up too much TV time, you call a thing TV time and then take up too much TV time, you are still taking up too much TV time. And I find that really frustrating. I really felt it on this episode. Like, I've tried to hold back on my thoughts on Jericho in like the pay-per-view reviews and stuff like that, but it's just gotten out of hand, particularly when there is the likes of Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa, who probably could have done with that spot to maybe have a match, or maybe have the Bang Bang Gang featured a bit more and maybe had a match on Dynamite. There's other people that I want to see, and this is not working. Like, where does this go? Once the FTW Championship is off, we're going to get Brian Keith distance himself from Jericho. It's another faction story with Jericho, and we've seen now 3 of them. It's really bad stuff, and I think what really frustrates me, particularly with this episode just gone, is it was sandwiched in between what I thought was a really good match with Mercedes Moné and an incredible main event and angle with Will Ospreay and Swerve. You had the Daniel Garcia match in there as well, but this was sandwiched in between those two, and it just dropped me right back down. It kills, these Jericho segments kill the momentum of any show that they're on, and it's really, really grating. And I think this is, while he gets a good number, I suppose, in like the demo stuff that I don't really look too much into, he's turning off some of your fan base, and I don't think that's what you need right now. Like, you really don't. Jericho just needs to take some time away. Let us miss him and let us think on this stuff and sort of like, oh, maybe Jericho could slot in here, because right now, where does he slot in? I don't want him slotted into the world title picture. Don't want him slotted into the TNT title picture. Don't want him facing Okada. Don't want him facing Ospreay, because they did that All In. Don't want him in the tag team division necessarily, going up against the Bucks. Don't want him in the trio stuff, because that's interesting with Joe, Hook, Shibata. He's just got his own Jericho vortex that is just a void. It's just a void, and I think the only solution to this is Jericho to just take some time away. If he doesn't want to retire, I'm not advocating for him to retire. He can do what he likes, but just take some time away. That's all we need. Just take some time away. Have more prominently featured stars like Bang Bang Gang, House of Black, Athena, all over your show in this segment that felt long. It felt long. That's a lot of TV time, and it could be used a lot more effectively, I think, with other people. Like, I'm not vibing with it in the slightest, and I think it's actively hurting Dynamite as a whole. It kills the pace. Those are my thoughts on that. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you a fan of the learning tree stuff? Are you not? Let me know everything you want, and I'll try and apply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.